Welcome back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I am Lupagus here with Onebar, and you know what? NFL draft is approaching. Pick 12, Minnesota Vikings own that thing, and there's a lot of names associated with it, but we are here to remind you, broaden your horizons, because it's not just the same four names we keep hearing.
Yeah, Lupagus scolding us this evening. As we know, it's the draft. Anything is possible, especially with a new front office. It's easy to say, yeah, we're going to go this position, that position, but we have no idea what they're going to do. So we're going to talk about some names that could be on their radar that we're not talking about. But let's subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 7,000. Hashtag 7,000 down in the comments. Also hit up that Patreon page, $2 a month. That's it. Do it. It's a holiday coffee.
Don't forget to get on Twitter and vote for who you think that mysterious sponsor of ours is. We landed one. We were very excited. We cannot wait to announce it. We'll be drinking a lot of their beer on the air from here on out.
Brand new sponsor. Cannot wait to announce it. Love it. But let's
here's the thing. So like when you're doing these mock drafts, you're doing these simulators online, you kind of get stuck with the same prospects over and over again. And right now it's a lot of Derek Stingley, a lot of Jordan Davis, a lot of Trent McDuffie for the Vikings. But let's just take a step back. Let's open up our minds and really think of some other prospects who could actually be very serious options and serious contenders to be the Vikings pick at 12. And that is what this whole video is about. And we're going to drop 5 names that you should keep on your radar because they are realistic and possible option for the Vikings.
Let's do this. Who do you got?
Well, I think the first one we should talk about is let's talk about the Ohio State wide receiver, Chris Olave. One of the guys, when you're looking back, if you're going to do a mock draft last year, 2021 in May, Chris Olave is probably one of your top 10 picks. And this guy, again, solid route runner, very good hands, great combine, great senior, junior, whatever the hell he is. This guy just produces.
Senior.
Well, I'm just saying. So this guy, you look at wide receiver for the Vikings, not a huge glaring hole on this roster, but really you got to think about a couple things. Justin Jefferson's contract in a couple years, Adam Thielen retiring. You want to make an impact. You put this guy in your team. You want to go all in for 2022. This is a guy who could definitely help the Vikings this coming season. Yeah,
and spoiler alert, he's not the only receiver on this list. And we just have to realize with everything you just said, that receiver could very well be a pick that the Vikings take earlier than expected. And this guy is the real deal. Reading about him, I was just reading a profile on him earlier, and it said, this guy is buttery smooth. He's buttery smooth, and I love it. I mean, people don't get excited about his frame by any means, but the guy makes plays, and throwing him in the mix is good. And he's been a hot name. He's going to be a guy that goes top 20.
Well, he's just, I mean, he is so smooth. He's such
buttery smooth. He's
buttery smooth, syrupy hands. He's basically a pancake. He's buttery smooth and he's got syrupy hands. And you put that in a pancake, it's delicious. Chris Olave, it really, I mean, you think about those. The Vikings, they want to make an impact. Who's going to make more of an impact? A receiver who can get on the field, make plays, or like a third cornerback, like a Stingley or a McDuffie. In a year where the Vikings are truly putting the chips in, we're making a push here. They're making it. We cannot say they're not doing that.
I'm just saying impact, but also who's going to help you win more games. I mean,
I think that if you can score 42 points because you have Chris Olave, you got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne. I mean, you got a ton of weapons there. So many weapons.
Well, before we get into that one, we're talking receivers. So let's just go to the other receiver before we get into these other guys, because we're hot and heavy on the receiver right now.
Let's do it. And it's Jameson Williams, the guy from Alabama. This is a guy whose stock seems to be kind of climbing back up. It's taken a late. It's going up. We saw him doing little exercises on the sideline on the field here. And let's remember these injuries these guys face. The recovery time is not like it used to be 5, 6, 7 years ago. These guys can come back a lot quicker than you think. So Jameson Williams, I mean, his speed, what he can do, stretching the field for the Vikings. You put him on this team, Kirk Cousins chucking the ball to him. I mean, you can't double anybody anymore if you line it up Jameson Williams, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, because you could see 4 wide receivers with Kevin O'Connell as your head coach. Who the hell? You got to single up everybody. A lot of options for Kirk Cousins in that situation.
Yeah. I mean, an ACL these days is like stubbing your toe. It's done. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. And everybody's like, we don't need a receiver. We don't need a receiver. And we continuously see comments on our videos that make a ton of sense for the fact that they took Randy Moss when we had Jake Reed and Chris Carter. So don't give me any of this crap that they're not taking a receiver because anything is an option. And Jameson Williams, if he wouldn't have been injured, would have been a surefire top 10 pick. And he will be back. He's already out there doing whatever he's doing out there. He's moving and grooving and already saying, I mean, they always say it. He's ahead of schedule. He's ahead of schedule. But this guy's really ahead of schedule.
And I'm going to say this right now on the air. If we take Jameson Williams, I will take a shot of Jameson on air.
Out of the crack of my ass.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to put that on.
I did. It's out there.
All right. I will do it. Hell yeah. Jameson Williams, a guy, I mean, really, just the impact he could have is huge for this Vikings offense. And let's stick
value. In 2 years, you're going to be like, are you kidding me? This guy didn't go pick 7. Or are you kidding me? He didn't go whatever. Pick 12. Steal.
And seriously, when Justin Jefferson's contract's up and you got to go ahead and pay him $200 million guaranteed, you're going to have this guy to fall back on. So
$200 million a year.
Well, and maybe the way this thing's going, it's crazy. So let's go to our guy, a guy who I don't think this would get a lot of cheers on draft day. I don't think it would get a lot of people excited. In fact, it might get some negative buzz, but a guy who I think could fill a major role in the Vikings, a guy you got to keep on your radar. And maybe he's out there on the edge of this whole entire, like he's way out there, but it's Zion Johnson from Boston College. It would not shock me if he's the first interior offensive lineman off the board. He can play guard, he can play center. And he's just nailed this entire draft season. Everything he does, he just goes out there, he performs, he looks great. A guy I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up going in the top 15 picks. Zion Johnson to the Vikings. He could be the center or guard or right guard. And I think he could really help this team in 2022.
Pretend you're Roger Goodell and announce the pick. I'll show you what my reaction would be.
With the 12th pick in the 2022 NFL draft, the Minnesota Vikings select Zion Johnson, guard, Boston College.
Yeah, good pick. Good pick. Solid pick. Instant starter. Come on, guys. Woo!
It is. It is. That is the perfect reaction because it's not a sexy name. It's not a Jameson Williams. It's not a Chris Olave, but it's a guy who you know is going to have a role. It's going to come in and really improve this O-line, which has been such a pain in the ass for so many years.
Well, you know what would make me feel better about the Zion Johnson pick?
Me massaging your shoulders.
If they are 100% in on him being a center. He played center at the Senior Bowl. I mean, I'm not big on taking a first-round guy and switching up positions, but if they were all in on him going there, I still think they're completely in on Wyatt Davis and Jesse Davis shooting out that right guard spot. But I could live with Zion Johnson. I'd be fine with it. I won't be mad. I won't be excited instantly. The reaction I just showed you is what you'd see.
No, it's a super accurate reaction. I really appreciate that graphic. The image you gave me. I'm gonna make a GIF out of it later. But I do think Zion Johnson is this year's Chris Lindstrom. I think he's gonna go a lot higher than people think. I think he can fill so many needs for so many teams. And he's just solid. He's steady. He's one of the safer picks in the entire draft. But let's go with the guy who is not safe. A guy who, he's from Greece. But, again, when you run a 3-4 defense, you can never have enough pass rushers. I'm talking about George Karlaftis. George Karlaftis from Purdue.
I actually think he is safe. I think he's one of the more safer edge rushers in the draft. He's not one of those guys. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have a high ceiling, but he's kind of like a Trent McDuffie. He's going to be good. Is he going to be great? We will see. Is he going to be bad? Absolutely not. He's going to be very, very good. And the reason these edge rushers probably aren't at the top of the list is because we just spent a bunch of money on Zadarius Smith. We got Daniil Hunter. DJ Nwanum is in the mix. We have some guys, but if the value is there, and it's going to be very interesting to see what some of these teams, what kind of grade they have on these edge rushers, because if they have them as a top 8 pick and they're at 12, you take the best player available. It's round 1, baby.
Yeah, the only concern I have with George Karlaftis, I love his motor. I love his energy.
Talk about his arms.
It is. He doesn't have that length that you want. I'm afraid he'll get eat up by blocks. That's the only concern I got. And maybe it's not right, maybe it's unfounded, but that is my concern. You look at your edge rushers, you want to have those long arms like Hunter has to get off those blocks, to create the separation, to push off. That is my concern about George Karlaftis. But you look at this guy, he was so dominant, he was so good, he created so many plays for Purdue. He's a game changer, and this is the kind of talent you want to add to your team. And I think Karlaftis, and here's the other thing you got to factor into this. Zadarius Smith is coming off an injury. Dylan Hunter's coming off an injury. We don't know. I mean, those guys could definitely be healthy all year in 2022, but they could also get hurt again. You want to have depth, quality depth, and DJ Wanham should be okay. But after that, you got to flesh this thing out because Janarius Robinson is definitely a question mark. I don't know what Kenny Wilkes, will he be with his hand in the dirt? Will he be standing up? I don't know.
Will he Hall of Famer, I'll tell you that much.
Will he even make the team? I don't know. But George Karlaftis, he's definitely an option and one we have to be prepared for when the Vikings run the clock at 12.
Lupagus has gone off the rails. If Kenny Wilkes doesn't make this team, I will be in therapy. And if worst comes to worst, you just bump Tough Borland out on the outside and say, get after the quarterback. Issue solved.
He's going to be best case on the practice squad, Tough Borland.
Tough Borland, anybody has a connection to him, I'd love to have him on the show. I'm Tough Borland's biggest fan.
You are Tough Borland. So you'll be doing that video solo, guarantee. Let's go with the last option. A guy who, he could be off the board when the Vikings run the clock. He could still be on the board, but he's one of these players that's kind of polarizing. Some have him very high, some have him a little bit lower. But it's Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher from Florida State, an Eden Prairie boy. He's Minnesota born and grown and raised. A guy who really, you look at this Jermaine Johnson, dominated the Senior Bowl, impressive combine. You can never have enough edge rushers, and he's definitely a guy we got to keep on the radar here for the Vikings.
Again, this comes back to just the best player available scenario. Might not be the biggest need, but if they have him at a certain point and it's just too good to pass on, you've said it multiple times, you cannot have enough pass rushers. He's got big old size. He can get after the quarterback. What do you have? 11, 12 sacks last year. And he dominated the Senior Bowl. He is going to be damn good. I look at him kind of the way I looked at when JJ Watt came out. For some reason, I want nothing to do with JJ Watt, but I knew he was going to be good. And I think Jermaine Johnson's going to be in the same. I mean, I'm not putting him at JJ Watt category, but he's going to be better than I probably want him to be.
What would it take for you? Like, where would you want to go edge rusher over corner? Like, would you take Jermaine Johnson over Trent McDuffie if that was the option, or would you go with the McDuffie?
If we were to stay at pick 12 and those two were on the board, that's a great question. I'll take Jermaine Johnson. I'm all on board with taking Trent McDuffie at pick 12, but I just want the Vikings to go best player available. I don't give a shit what the position is. Get the best player. I can't remember. Damn it. I think it was Chris. Somebody put in the comments, free agency is to fill needs. The draft is to get the best player available. And he couldn't have said it any better because that is 100% accurate.
And let's not forget, I mentioned this earlier, but if this team is truly going all in for 2022, I think they got to look at the player who will have the biggest impact. And that could be an edge rusher over a corner. And that could be what decides this thing is that, hey, we're going to get more over this guy getting after the quarterback than this guy covering somebody. So that could be the deciding factor. So it wouldn't shock me if the Vikings did go edge rusher over corner when push comes to shove on draft day. 4 weeks from today.
4 weeks from today, we're going to be talking so much damn draft in the coming weeks. You are going to be sick of us, even though you probably already are. I'm looking so hard to find out who did that quote because I actually told him I was going to quote him on the next episode, but I can't find him.
It was probably Dirk Diggler.
It might have to be the next episode. But it's true. It is absolutely true. Draft, especially the early rounds, best player available. Free agency is to fill needs.
Yeah, and that's the whole point of this video. So, I mean, it's just to keep the options open. Don't get too focused on certain positions or certain players because the Vikings could go many different ways here at pick 12, and a lot of them make sense. A lot of them fill needs. So let's not get too honed in here when it comes to options at 12.
Dan Larson.
Dan Larson?
Free agency is for needs. Draft is for the best players. Boom.
I think we went slow dance together at the place. All right, so that is going to put an end to this video. And you guys are thinking about where the Vikings go at pick 12. Also, remember this: the delicious beverage called chocolate milk was actually invented. You want to take a guess before I tell you where chocolate milk was invented?
Scotland.
No, it was invented in Jamaica.
Damn it.